Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. So on today's video, what we're doing is going to be doing a hotly requested haircut technique. We're using ponytails to let you really understand over direction, elevation and disconnection within a haircut within minutes. So with hairdressing, it's something that we don't really get taught in college at an early age. It's something you have to either pay your way and learning, or you have to get a lot of friends and family and models in with curly hair to really sort of hone your skill set. This is a really cool sectioning pattern, and it's a really cool technique on showing you how to cut curly hair to create a really sexy looking curly bob in minutes with disconnection. And I'm going to show you right now. So I'm just going to explain it first. So what I did, I took an inch back on the hairline and then sectioned that to the top of the ear. So you can see there, I'll put my comb in there. So it comes from there, which is the 2 inches from the forehead sort of hairline. And it comes down there to just the corner of the ear. And then that follows all the way down. It's quite a fine section because we don't want loads of weight. We want it to be really sort of free flowing through there. We took it across the back, straight up again, that same point, and then disconnect to this front here. This is basically a safety blanket for you to understand what length we're working with. Once that starts to dry a bit, you'll be able to be like, oh, okay, we can go a little bit shorter. I'm glad I left that length because we've maintained the length if we want to. We are going to be wanting to refine it, and that's going to be the game changer as well. Ponytail haircuts are one of my favorite things to do because I can really help you explore haircutting in a very simple way, in being able to visually see it instantly. If I was to cut hair here with it over directed that way or elevated right up there, we cut it. How does that hair fall? These are just really great techniques to be able to show you how to do it. So we've got 4 ponytails. We've got one at the back here, which is this section here. We've got these 2 on the side here, and then this will be a ponytail on top, which is going to be pulled forward. I kept it in a little bump because I wanted you to be able to see the sectioning pattern. All these sections are taken with zigzags. So to do that, all you would do is get a comb like that, zigzag it up around your head. This section here is on the curvature. The best way to find the curvature of the head is to put a comb there and see where the head starts to move away from the comb. That is the best way. So if I can just get out of the way so you can see some daylight. There you go. So you see just here where my finger is, that's where it starts to curve away. That is where we section on this top section for. And then this section here, we're coming just above the occipital bone. And again, we're through here, zigzag, 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 all the way through to create that section and mimic it on the other side, which then allows us to have this section just here, which is going to be our first section. With section 1, sections 2, and section 3. And then once we've done this, we're going to refine these pieces in, but we're just going to create a super sexy curly bob in minutes for you. I can't wait to show you. So let's get straight into the haircut. Right, so with this whole sectioning pattern, what we want to be doing, this is section like this right in the middle of the head, because what this is going to do, it's going to be able to, we're going to be able to cut it, see the length we're working with, and then we're going to be having length longer towards the edges, because this is pulling back to here, that is pulling back to there, which means this being pulled back and cut here, it's going to be shorter to longer. And that's why we're doing it. What we've got to be also aware of is elevation. So the elevation from here to the bobble is, well, it's coming up probably near on 45 degrees. So that's what's going to give us a bit of softness as well. But it's also going to maintain a bit of length because we're pulling up. So we have to be very aware of that. So let's pull this up to here. And where we're looking at length, so we've got an extra sort of 2 inches to play with. So 2 inches would take us to there. So then if I cut, say, another 2 inches, it's probably going to sit around about here once we've cut it the shortest piece, and then gradually get longer. But actually I want to go shorter. So I'm going to go near on the bobble. I'm going to cut, what's that, near about an inch there, because I want it to sit about here, so we've got a really nice disconnected piece in that central piece. So and because we're working in little ponytails and sections as well, there's not a load of hair to chomp through. It's as if we're doing or replicating a section pattern within the salon. So we've just done that. I'm just going to chip in just to add a little bit of softness there. So we've got that. What we want to do now is just pull this ponytail out. And you can see already that shortness we've got in there, which goes from shorter to longer, with our longest length being this, which is perfect. So we've even got graduation in there, all through here. And now with these pieces underneath, we want to be pulling out, finding that guide we've just put in, that first cut, and then I'm just not closing my blades, but using the butt of my blade just to add a little bit of connection, but I do want disconnection there. So again, we're looking at that length. And we're just looking at this curl up. And we're going to over direct back, looking at that length there, which is there. There. The reason we've done that as well is because we want to maintain the weight behind the ear, just here. Because a lot of times, if we were to say graduate or I suppose layer behind the ear, because we lose a lot of the length here, we end up with holes. But because this has all been taken back and this was our safety blanket, we've kept that really nice and strong. Again, pull that out. You just want to be working that curl back into that hair. And once we've done it all, we're going to wet it down again, get some more product in, and let this air dry naturally so you can actually see how it works. But hopefully you can see there a really nice, beautiful shape that is appearing. So now we've got these sections. So let's just let this down. And what we want to be doing, we want to be doing the opposite. So we want it to be, because this is shorter in here, this is going to act as scaffolding, which is going to hold up here. So this is going to overlay, but it's going to all sort of visually blend, but it's going to be completely disconnected. Now, these are pulled right forward. So whereas that ponytail was here, this ponytail could be here, could be there, but we've gone the opposite way because we want it to be shorter here and longer here, so the opposite. I'm just going to pull up and elevate, and again I'm going to pull out. I'm going to use the eye as a guide. I like to use points of reference as guides so we can make sure we can replicate it on the other side. So my finger's there, if I push it right in, I touch the eyelashes. So there's our cut. And again, just going to chip into it slightly, pull this out, and then we can just visually assess where we're going. What we do the other side. And then what we'll do here is we just look at, like we did underneath here, we pull this out and we just work our blades just down. So we're creating just a bit of that visual connection, but it is completely disconnected. And again, we just want to pull that out to there. And I'm just working around the head here because I'm working with this length underneath just to connect. But hopefully you can see already the shape that we're creating here working out. And again, I've just pulled up length from underneath and look, it's nearly connected. So just going to take that edge off. And this is that disconnection here, which is shorter, because that's going to lend itself well, because we've protected ourselves, because we've got this disconnection here. This is all going to lend itself to the airiness and the floatiness and the fullness of the shape. So again, what do we use as a guide this side? The eyes. So make sure that my knuckles now are touching the eyes. Just chip in, pull the bobble out. We've got that shortness at the front, got that length at the back. Now again, all we do, we pull through here, we find that underneath there. We can even use this side as a guide if we want to, where we pull that down so we get complete disconnected balance. And remember, we just work around the head, picking up a little bit underneath so we can see where we sort of want to connect to, but not really. And when we get to this side, it sort of already connects, but we just take that tiny bit off. And you should be able to see all of that shape now taking place through there. This top section, this is what we could put it in a ponytail, but we don't really need to, because what we want to do is we want to, oh, took my head off. We want to pull it forward and elevate it forward to be maintaining the length at the back, because then again we can refine it in, and we want a lower graduation elevation through here so it remains heavy. And then once we go through it again, once it's all dry, we can then refine. So we're going to pull down to here, to the nose as a guide. I'm just going to slightly just chip in, very, very slightly. Because then we're pulling forward, what we do is we add that sort of connection, which is through this shorter piece again. So all I'm doing is just trying to look at where the curl is sort of sitting and behaving. Let's just open her up so you guys can see before we take the disconnected pieces out the front. I'm then going to wet it down. Right, so this is it raw, but can you see that shape already building up the weight through here? Because when that starts to just dry, we're going to create this beautiful shape through here, maintaining that weight behind the ears that normally people lose. You can see this gap here. This is what these are for. That's what's going to bring it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'll take these out, I'll get it all wet down, we'll get it dry, because look at that, there you go. That is those gap fillers just on the sides here. So once we get that all incorporated back into that haircut, beautiful. So I'm going to wet this down, get some product in, let it dry natural, and then we'll start to refine. So this is it. This is so you've got this length here with what we're going to refine. It already had a fringe in this mannequin, so it hasn't really affected too much. I really quite like the fringe, but you can see how I've just exploded, and then we're just going to pull out where need be, just to check all of the shape. And then we want to be refining like through these sides, just to take it up a little bit, so there's a little bit of a connection there. You can see the shape at the back as well. I'll get out of the way. What we can do, just so we remove a little bit of that shell sort of look, like we did underneath, we're just pulling the longer pieces and then not shutting our blades, but just like that. But I did want this connection in this because it would just give us a really nice weighty sort of like top layer. You mean, you can see there, that's exactly how I want it to look from a profile perspective. And then we can just really refine everything that we want to do. But what do you think about it? Really easy, really simple. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you would try it for hairdressers, as it made it a little bit easier to understand with over direction this way, over direction that way, leaving a bit more weight and length so we can actually connect. That's the whole main point of this, but just so you can see. a really nice curly bob haircut, or long bob, shall we say. That'd sort of be tickling the collarbone if she had any. Just going to put my scissors down, shake out a little bit. I know this is the favourite part. How does that look like that? Oh, see, I love this sort of stuff that's like disconnected, but just has a little point of difference to it. There you go. That's a better shape. You can see what I mean by leaving these pieces out that we left, hairline and hairline at the back. It's just protected all of the perimeter so you don't end up getting holes. And this mannequin isn't the thickest. You can make it as big and as tight. If you got a diffuser on there and started diffusing in, you could make it like really compressed, like so. So, yeah. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the like button. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.